before we start, let's rewind a little bit. So the small detail stuff I'm looking to improve is kind of all over the place, but one of the main things that I definitely want to improve is the packaging, because that's the first thing people see when it shows up on their doorstep. Well, in that video, if you didn't see it, we talked about stepping up branding and packaging and a few things for my company 38 Ride Co. and why it's important for everyone to do things like this. And we stepped up the level of branding and the look of our boxes like big time. I had also talked about stepping up the branding and the look of a few other things, but to be honest with you, trying to find the time for that since then has been, it's been next to impossible. Both companies are getting busier. I guess it's a good problem to have. But today we're getting back into it and we're finishing the damn job. I haven't completely neglected this topic since then. A couple things have happened. I had talked about stepping up the look and feel of our little thank you cards that go in every order, and that has stepped up pretty exponentially. So these were what I was putting in every single order from day one. These are just little cue cards from any office supply place that I was printing out on my printer here in my office. Very cheap, but in the beginning, you gotta be cheap, so that's what I was doing. I mean, it's definitely better than nothing. It shows the customer that you at least give a shit about them buying your product, but I mean, the whole look of this thing, yeah. Since then, we've stepped up to these beautiful bastards, and obviously the difference is pretty huge. These things look super good, they feel good, they definitely show that we care about quality around here, they're super professional, and I've included a little 10% discount code for every single one of these that goes out for customers just to show my appreciation. So yeah. Big difference there. I did talk about getting custom packing tape, and I did put that on hold for at least the immediate future. I got a few samples of it and really didn't like the whole look or feel of it, just kind of felt shitty to me, so put that idea on the shelf, decided to go with the custom printed craft paper tape, which that stuff is super heavy duty. That's what pretty much every major company ships with nowadays anyways. But to use that stuff, you need a special dispenser. I mean, yes, you can do it by hand with a sponge, but definitely not gonna catch me ever doing that anytime soon, because I ship way too many boxes for that. That would take fucking forever. It's the stupidest idea for me to do. So then you got two options. You got manual and you got electronic dispensers. I'm always kind of thinking ahead to the big picture stuff. So right now I could definitely get a manual dispenser and call it a day and start working with that stuff. But those manual dispensers are still pretty expensive. They're like $300-400, and I can already see that's gonna be like something I outgrow in like a month or two, and it's gonna collect dust, something I'm never gonna be able to get rid of. So not wasting my money on that right now. I'm gonna hold out for a little bit longer and wait until I can spend the money on one of those electronic dispensers, and then I'm set for a long time. But then the final piece of the puzzle that everyone keeps asking about is the poly mailer bags. Well, this is what we're gonna tackle today. Of course, up to this point, these have been spray painted. It's better than just a blank bag, but they kind of look like shit to me, and doing this takes forever to do because obviously paint has to dry. You gotta lay them all out across the garage outside, and it's a whole painstaking process. Hate doing it. So I've been trying to figure out a way to screen print these things. I think I got it. So I did a bunch of digging around, did a bunch of research, and came up with this. This right here is Nastar 7900. This is some kind of solvent screen printing ink. What it's used for is printing those corrugated plastic signs you see all over the place, like real estate signs and things in front of the businesses, stuff like that. And it just so happens that those bags are made out of the same thing. So I have a feeling that this might be the ticket. I actually really have no idea, but we're gonna wing it and hopefully it works out. Now this stuff is a solvent printing ink, so I'm not sure about fumes and stuff just yet. I'm definitely gonna have the window and the fans and all that stuff going. May even put a mask on for this. We'll see just how bad this is when I open up this can. But otherwise, apparently it's somewhat easy to use. The only thing that I gotta figure out is the curing. This stuff apparently can air cure, but then it just brings me back to the whole spray painting days thing, which would make this pointless. I'd have to lay them out all around the shop, let them dry, stack them back up, start a whole other stack. It's something I want to avoid. We're trying to make this fast, trying to make this easy, trying to make this efficient. So I think I just gotta figure out the right time and temperature to pass these bags through my conveyor dryer so that they don't melt, shrivel up, turn into a piece of shit at the end, but still be enough to at least cure the top part of the ink. The underside, you know, that'll cure over time. So as long as we can get the top dry enough so we can stack these things and just rifle them through here at a high speed, that's what we're looking for today. I just hope this works. Let's go. Okay. Oh, and in case you were wondering, this is a 280 mesh. This stuff calls for anywhere between a 230 to a 305 mesh, so I just went around the middle since I've never used it before, and I also need my 305s for something else in a couple days, so 280s never get used for really anything. If I ruin them with the solvent shit, don't care. So we just gotta figure out the whole curing situation. Did a little bit of research, found out that this stuff cures at around 130 degrees Fahrenheit. This right now is set for t-shirts to come out of it at around 330, 340 range. So I think what I'm gonna do, leave the heat where it's at and just pick up the belt speed a bunch. I don't know. It also said forced air or some kind of circulation is good to help cure this stuff better as well. So I got a solution for that. Everything else in here is always so meticulous, and then here I am stuffing a fan into a trash can. But it works. I can feel the airflow at the other end, so it's better than nothing. So let's try and get one of these bags through here without melting it, and then we can start printing. Oh, it's melting. It's melting big time. All right, we need to go a little bit faster, I think. Well, that's better. It's definitely not good. All right, we're cranking this thing up full speed. And it's still getting hot. All right, we got to definitely dial down the temperature. We're getting closer, though. Oh, yep. We're going with that. Look at that progression. Totally fucked. A little less, but still pretty fucked. Damn near usable. A little bit of warpage. This one's not past my seal of approval. I could probably use this, but I'm not going to. And then perfect. So let's get a print on this and see what happens. Well, this one looks kind of shitty because obviously the bag is, you know, bag, so it lifted up with the screen. I definitely need to put a little bit more off contact on here, but this is good enough to test out the curing situation right now. We'll figure this out as we go. Well, the cure works, so that's good. I can rub it. It's not sticky. Nothing's coming off. Probably back down the heat a tiny little bit, but otherwise, we're there. So we got the first part figured out, and I thought that was gonna be the hardest. So now we just gotta get a clean print on these, and this thing is super loud when it's going full speed. Holy shit. All right, I think we're starting to get it. Basically, it just requires a super fast and pretty light print stroke. Otherwise, it's not that bad. But the one thing I did find is this stuff dries in the screen like ridiculous quick. Just from me going back and forth and kind of just inspecting my work 30 seconds at a time between bags, it was enough to dry out all those little overspray details. Like you can see, most of them are missing on this one. So I'm gonna have to get some screen opener, clean that thing out, set up my bags I'm gonna print, and just haul ass through these things. Another thing is the fumes, they're pretty strong. So this is going on. That's going on. Let's do this thing. I think that's the first time I've ever done something on here and didn't film a whole crazy B-roll sequence about it. I 100% could not do it. You have to work so fast with that stuff. It was literally drying in the screen as I was printing it. About every 5 minutes or so, I had to keep going back and hitting with screen opener just to keep having relatively clean prints. And as far as clean prints go, well, those were about 50-50. First, because I'm just laying it on the platen, I have no way to thread it on there. The bag is kind of lifting up sometimes with the screen, so the prints were a little inconsistent there, but that is what it is. Sometimes the cure was working perfect, and then other times, not so much, and they were sticking to each other. And then other times, I don't know what happened. Some of them just turned out like shit. But I did just knock off 100 bags in like 20 minutes, so that was really good. And I mean, these things, this is gonna be the one time you ever see me say that perfection is not on my priority list, just because I know there's a 100% chance that every single one of these is gonna land in the garbage can once they've reached their destination. So they're all between like a 5 to a 9. That's gonna be acceptable to me on this one. But the ones that did turn out, they turned out really damn good. That looks amazing, especially compared to the old spray painted bag. It's a night and day difference, and definitely much faster to work with. There was no way I was spray painting 100 bags in 20 minutes, not a damn chance. But we do have one more design to print, which is the Rogue Lab logo on another 100 bags. And you're probably wondering why I made a Rogue Lab screen to print on bags, and that's because I've decided there's gonna be a little merch line with the Rogue Lab stuff. There's all kinds of designs that just don't fit for 38, or just have creative ideas that I don't have anywhere to put them. So we're gonna make a little merch line and put all the cool random ideas that don't work for the brand into there, and you guys will be able to pick some of that stuff up. And this one, since it is a big bold design, we might be able to get some B-roll footage here. The other one with all the tiny little overspray splatters, that's the stuff that was drying in the screen first. This one doesn't have any little details like that, so I'm gonna give it a shot. So let's go. There's a little B-roll. Sorry, this stuff is just too difficult to work with to get any kind of good footage going on. Hi, welcome to my worst video of the year. But this batch turned out substantially better. I will say bold designs, much easier to work with. I also took a few tries and messed around with my dryer settings. Now they're coming out of there absolutely perfect every time. There's nothing sticking together, so that was a big help. I have to write those settings down. So I'd rate all these probably between 7 to 10, all of them. There's a couple in there that kind of suck, but they were very few and far between compared to the other batch. At this point, I'm gonna say, not a big fan of working with this stuff so far. I had to take my screens off and clean them immediately after I was done, because that's just how fast this ink dries up. And obviously trying to get consistent prints has been a struggle so far. But that being said, let's be honest here. I did absolutely minimal to no research on this before I started. It was like, all right, this is the kind of ink I need to use. This is what a cure's at. Cool, let's figure this out and just go for it. Oh man, I got that stuff everywhere when I was cleaning up. Definitely gotta be a better way to do that. But yeah, that one all right, considering I've never done this before and did little to no research before I started. First time I've ever done that before. I just really needed to get this done because, well, I ship out orders on a regular basis and I ran out of bags. So here we are. And for first try, not too damn bad. These look pretty good. There are some in there though. But I guess what really excites me about today is the way that all the new packaging and branding stuff with 38 Rideco, the way it's all kind of shaping up together, it's starting to look really good. The old stuff was definitely great. I can't take much away from it. It was totally DIY. I was doing whatever I could just to make my branding better with the little bit that I had. And people took notice of it, they appreciated it, and it definitely helped spread the word and build up what my brand's about. But now this new stuff just takes it to a whole new level. The new boxes, the new bags, the new cards, everything just looks super professional and well thought out, especially since it's still DIY. But what this signifies to me, and maybe what's going to signify to our customers, is that we're starting to take that step out of the minor leagues and kind of step up to that middle ground. We're not in the majors yet, but we're starting to we're inching our way there. So I guess the next step is I got to print some inventory to put into these goddamn things. I've had like no stock since the Black Friday sale pretty much, because that's around the time the screen printing stuff showed up here, so I spent all that time building up the shop and now learning how to use all this stuff and then doing customer jobs and all that. Everything just got sidetracked, so now it's time to buckle down and start making some 38 Rideco gear again. And I'm glad it took me a little while, because I was able to run through a bunch of jobs and print off a few thousand shirts and kind of get the grasp of the whole thing and figure out a way to perfect what I'm doing here, so that when it comes to my brand now, I can deliver the excellence that I set out to do with buying all this stuff. So yeah, we're gonna be doing that here in the vlog starting next week or the one after. Gonna be bringing back the OG tee and the OG hoodie, which I'm super excited to do, and this time we're bringing it out in 2 colorways. We got one more play on the OG logo design. That's gonna be its own separate video, because I'm gonna be learning a new skill with that, so that'll be coming out afterwards. That should keep some customers happy for the time being and give me a little bit of breathing room, because I've had no time to sit down and think, no time to come up with new designs. I gotta come up with probably 3-4 collections to come out through the span of this year, and I've got nothing right now because the print shop is kind of taken over. So it's time to start fixing that. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this one. I promise once I figure this stuff out a little bit more, I will do a little bit more in-depth how-to video on exactly how this is done. I'm not gonna explain anything about it now, because I would just be talking out of my ass. Make sure you click that thumbs up button and follow my other social media accounts down below. We'll see you again in the next one.